All right, let's get right into it. If you're in pretty much any technical field, cybersecurity, software development, you name it, there's this huge pressure to get that fast, flashy win, to find some clever trick that makes you look like a genius. But today, we're going to flip that idea on its head. We're going to talk about how changing your definition of a win can totally transform your approach and, honestly, make you way better at what you do.
So let's start with a big question everyone's asking. What's the fastest way to get that first win? The shortcut, the thing that proves you've got what it takes. Well, I guarantee the answer isn't what you're probably thinking.
So look at this. On one side, you have the common answer. Find some clever exploit, break the thing. It's exciting for sure. It gets the adrenaline going. But a lot of the time, it's just noise. Now look at the other side. That's the strategic answer, the professional's answer. It's not about the explosion, it's about the insight. The real first win is actually finding the right question to ask.
And that leads us straight to our first big idea. Your first real victory, it isn't something you do. It's something you think. It's all about the prep work you do way before you even dream of launching an attack or writing that first line of code. This quote just hits the nail on the head. This is the bedrock of the whole strategic mindset. Before you touch anything, you have to understand two things: where you are and what you're actually trying to do. Defining the environment just means knowing the network, the software, the rules of the game. And defining the question? That means having a super clear, specific goal. This isn't just getting ready for the work. This is the first win. Getting this right is everything.
Okay, so let's build on that. Once you've defined your environment, your next job is to just listen. Seriously, most systems out there are incredibly noisy, just full of junk information. The real skill is learning how to sift through all that noise to find the few really valuable signals.
And wow, this just says it all, doesn't it? The temptation is to just start hammering away, right? Brute forcing directories, throwing common attacks at it. But so often the application is literally handing you clues on a silver platter. It's in the documentation, the error messages, the comments in the code. Listening first saves you a ton of time, and believe me, it almost always shows you a much, much smarter way forward.
So, how do you listen effectively? Well, one of the most powerful tools is a baseline scan. Just think of it like taking a photograph of a system when it's just sitting there, being its normal self. You figure out what's running, which ports are open, what the traffic usually looks like. Why is this so important? Because you can't possibly spot something weird if you don't know what normal looks like in the first place.
And that right there is the real payoff. Taking the time to build a really clean, thorough baseline teaches you an insane amount about your target. It's a way deeper, more fundamental learning experience than just getting lucky and finding one vulnerability on your first try. Yeah, that flashy pass might feel good for a minute, but that baseline gives you the knowledge to find 10 more vulnerabilities down the road.
This brings us to probably the most important metaphor in this whole explainer. We've been building up to this idea that the exploit, that final result you're chasing, it isn't actually the prize. So let's unpack what the real prize is.
Let's just sit with this for a second. If that cool hack, that final moment of victory, isn't the goal, then what have we been working toward this whole time? What's the actual thing of value here?
And here we go. This is the absolute key. The exploit is just the receipt. It's the piece of paper that proves you bought something. The real prize, the thing you actually walked away with, is the lesson. It's the whole thought process, the understanding of the system, the step-by-step logic that made finding that exploit not a matter of luck, but an inevitable, repeatable outcome. That's what you paid for.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the philosophy, but how do we actually make this happen? Let's break it down into a really simple strategic checklist that turns all these big ideas into a process you can use every single time.
All right, let's walk through this. It's simple, but it's so powerful. First, verify your network. Can you actually talk to the thing you're supposed to talk to? Sounds basic, I know, but you wouldn't believe how often this gets skipped. Second, confirm your target. Are you 100% sure you're aimed at the right thing? A simple mistake here can waste hours, or worse. Third, rebuild the baseline, just like we talked about. Get that snapshot of normal. And finally, number 4, rank by signal. Now that you know what normal looks like, you can see what stands out. What's the loudest, most interesting signal in all that noise? That's where you start digging. And that's what I want to leave you with, this one question. As you're doing your work, as you're learning, just ask yourself this. Are you just collecting receipts? Are you just chasing those flashy exploits to prove you were there? Or are you focused on the process itself, on building that deep foundational understanding that is the real lesson. Because honestly, the answer to that question will define your entire career.